Miss Linda's cookies are sacred. Sacred. Like, you could put 100 grandma's desserts in front of my face, and I'm picking Miss Linda's cookies every time. She used to be our snack person at Whiz Kids, and she would bring the snacks for all the other kids. Of course, I always got what I wanted because she was my tutor. Whiz Kids was something very life-changing to be a part of.
I met James in the 2nd grade. He came to about here, and now he puts his chin on top of my head. He's so tall. So it's like, wow, a lot has happened.
She's played a way bigger role than just a mentor for James. The way I grew up, there's so many different ways that things could turn out, and so many different ways that James could have turned out. When Linda started outside of Whiz Kids saying, hey, I want to go out of my way to spend time with you, that was important.
That first summer is when I took him out as a mentor, and his brother and sister came running out and wanted to know if he had a good time. And he said, yes, we're going to do it every week. I had not planned on doing it every week, but he said we were going to, so of course we did. So then I took the other ones, and we would go to Miami Whitewater, would sit at a picnic table and play cards. We went hiking a lot, and I was trying to show them that you don't need to have a lot of money to have a good time. Relationships were so much more important.
It was just about how much time and quality time that she could spend with us, not just sit there and have us walk through the museum and she plays on her phone while we do it. She's pointing out stuff, and she would make me read every little exhibit plaque as practice, so when we go back the next week for Whiz Kids, I flip through that book like it's nothing.
Maybe a year and a half later, I said, hey James, do you want to go to Christmas Eve service at the Vineyard? And he said, oh, I would like to. And I said, well, do you think your parents want to come with you? And he said, I don't think so. My dad is not into church, and neither is my mom. And I said, well, just ask him anyway, and afterwards, we'll go out to eat afterwards. So they went, and Nick loved it. They would meet us there for years.
Sherry and I have been together since we were 16, 17 years old. So we've been together for going on 27 years. At that time in our life, I'm not saying that we would have gotten divorced, but the marriage wasn't good. Church changed everything. Church changed our relationship. Church changed me.
Watching my mom and dad stand side by side, raising their hands to the Lord is something special when you get to look back and see that it all started because somebody decided I didn't know how to read.
Years later, James approached me and said, I think I'd like to get baptized. And I said, well, that's great. He says, you'll do it though, you'll do it, right? I don't want anybody else to do it. I said, sure, I'll do it. Here was this little 2nd grader, and look how much he has grown coming out of the water. And God let me see that. 2 years later, Nick asked me if I would baptize him. I'm glad we were in water up to our waist or whatever, so people didn't see the tears that I was crying.
Just as much as our kids needed her, I think I needed that stability too. If we were to talk about my history with my mom, we'd be here for a long time. There was disappointment there, broken promises. That's a whole other story. I had someone other than my wife that I could count on. You find out later on that Miss Linda had some things going on in her life. We needed her just as much as she needed us.
I don't think I could put it in words, because it was a long time before that I saw my own grandkids. I think the very first year, James always introduced me as my adopted grandma. Here was this little kid, just put a total trust. He accepted me just who I was. I don't, maybe it's because I bought Wendy's Frosties that day.
At that age, I didn't have the greatest relationship with my grandparents, and Miss Linda stepping right up to the plate without hesitation was perfect timing. She's been just like such a rock.
Jesus absolutely had a plan. We organically came together over reading. Obviously, City Gospel was what created the environment to bring us together.
Everybody's always talking about chance, like everything happens with chance. But then if you sit back and actually look at the details that played into place, the Lord would have never put in that heart of the administrators that I needed help reading, would have never met Miss Linda. Him acting on me at a very young age, now looking back at it and seeing that it was the Lord acting on me, it makes me want to pursue him that much more. It makes me want to put that much more faith in him, because I've seen what he can do with the beautiful little lady that stands next to me every time I come over here.